Explosion of sea lion deaths in Peru amid deadly bird flu outbreak. So now, what are they saying? Thousands of sea lions in Peru have died amid an outbreak of bird flu. Bird flu has not only passed into mammals, it's passing into many other mammals. Yep. This is a 60% mortality rate. I'm sure the most conspiracy-minded individuals are thinking that it was all intentional. But I've got to say, guys, if you think that they took bird flu and then did gain-of-function research to make it transmissible among mammals, I have to say you're completely right. From science.org, controversial experiments that could make bird flu more risky poised to resume. 2 gain-of-function projects halted more than 4 years ago have passed new U.S. review processes. So in February of 2019, and we have mentioned this before, they began working on H5N1 to make it transmissible among mammals. Now, why would you go and do that? And now it is bouncing around mammals, and it does have a 60% mortality rate.
That's correct. They actually did it the first time back in 2011. They did it, and for a while they tried to stop publishing it, but they ultimately ended up letting them publish. And I'll explain why they do it, why the government does it. I just don't want your bloggers to take my head off for defending them. But this is why the government
You're going to take your head off no matter what.
I know. This is why the government does gain-of-function research. They do it with this reasoning. Hey, eventually H5N1 will mutate to become human transmissible. It'll happen naturally. And biologists have said that, and they're right. It happens all the time. Virus is always mutating. So they say what we're going to do is we're going to speed it up in the lab. We're going to develop a human-to-human contagious or mammal-to-mammal contagious version. Now, once we've got this in the lab, we'll keep it in the lab and we'll develop vaccines. So when the natural happens, we'll prepare. That's their argument for doing it. But the problem here is back in 2011, I don't care if they do that at Fort Detrick, which, by the way, isn't too far from you. And, if the Army's doing biological research for defensive reasons, I'm for that. But when they released it and published how you do it so that anyone from Al-Qaeda to North Korea to Syria, you name it, I could do it. I've got the knowledge. It's a low-tech way to do it. And you publish results. Now you've just increased our odds of any nutcase doing it and then releasing it. So it's happening naturally, but the threat is not low. That's what I was arguing here. The threat is not low because a natural mutation may occur. The threat is high because it has mutated. It is now spreading amongst mammals. It started with minks last year. Sea lions, other things may be spreading now. But they're not the only threat. You could deliberately do it in a lab. You could deliberately do it a low-tech way in the basement. I'm saying bad guys could be doing it now, too, because we've published how to do it. It's very well known. So to me, it's inevitable. Biologists have used that word in congressional testimony, warning Congress, we must be ready for avian flu, H5N1, to be spreading amongst humans. They've been warning Congress for a decade now. Has anything been done? Not a damn thing.
What can they do?
Just like that, there's a lot of things they do. For one thing they do, the first thing is just warn people. Don't have the CDC saying, oh, it's low risk. It's not low risk. All kinds of medical groups are saying, watch out, it's coming. The probability of a pandemic has gone up, but the CDC the Center for Disease Control, keeps saying it's low, and it's not. And the CDC is not giving an honest warning about it. The threat is up a lot because it's now mutated and it's now spreading amongst mammal populations, which means as that virus mutates, it's far more likely when it's mutating amongst sea lions or ferrets or mink to now become human transmissible. So the risk is up. It is not still low risk like they've been saying. Can you calculate that risk? No, you can't. You can't put a number to it. But that's why the CDC absolutely cannot say it's low risk. It's an unknown risk.
I think
it could be very high probability. It could be 50% it's going to happen this year, 75%. CDC cannot know that. So why are they announcing it's low risk to humans when you cannot know that risk?
Without going into great detail, let me just say I think the people who watch this show, I think myself personally, I'm pretty sure the other people in the room, have very little faith in the CDC for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, the CDC wants to prevent panic, one, which is why they'll say don't worry about it. Secondly, when it comes to COVID, the way they handle COVID, they did not talk about prophylactic measures. They never really talked about prevention. They talked about how to deal with it once it already hits. I don't want to inject the thing or do the thing. Where's the vitamin D?
I don't want to deviate from the bird flu subject. subject.
This is why I think we haven't heard about how to prevent and prepare for how to heal from this stuff before it gets you. Because if the methodology is let's heal it once it strikes.
I think the CDC is completely inept or malicious, and they're incapable of properly advising. It was so bad that Steven Crowder got multiple strikes. And it's not just them. It's, the big tech industry. Steven Crowder got, I think, 2 strikes on YouTube for talking about what the CDC was saying. That's how insane the whole thing is. So let me just say about all of this, I don't think anyone is going to give us an honest assessment of what this is and what might happen. But I will say, I do believe, based on what we've already seen, well, I should say this. The news has reported the gain-of-function research to make bird flu transmissible among mammals happened a decade ago.
We are affiliated with a 501c3 called We Are the 51%. This is based off of all the good people in the world giving extra effort to have a better way of life. You can donate, sponsor, or even make a tax-deductible payment to help these children to get food so no child goes to sleep hungry. How you can help is to go to our website, matt55.com. You go to the bottom right-hand corner of the video, then click the button that says Retail Customers. You can choose either option, the $5 or the $40 donation options. Either click the Add button below the dollar amount of which one that you choose. Then the next page, choose the quantity of the donation amount. For example, if you'd like to donate $1,000, then you can change the quantity amount to $200. Then click the checkout button in the bottom right hand corner, and then on the next page, enter your credit card information, name and address. We will send you out a receipt for the amount so you can write this off as a donation on your taxes or also on your business taxes. Remember, our main goal is $1 million to help sponsor 20,000 children. 1 million people in the world will lose their life due to starvation due to the famine that has already begun by 2025.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.